Okay. I'm assuming you can see my screen, so I'll go on the premise that you can. The last 5 days, let's just call it what it is, has been both a nightmare, a learning experience, and an iterative climb to how we got to this morning, which is pegged with Motive Wave, TradingView, and other platforms at the open, which is where we be. And this all started with a exact same framework that we had when we were in beta, and we ported it to a hybrid platform uh, for users all over the world, across different browsers, different platforms, different desktop types, GPUs, all sorts of things. And from the second we turned it on, it was buggy. We had times that where it worked better, times that it didn't work at all. And we had to shut down for most of Monday and Tuesday, and certainly most of last week. And it took us to down a number of paths that, to say it lightly, frustrated many of you, and created a series of situations where it kind of sounded like the boy who cried wolf. We're up, we're fixed, everything is good, and only to find out a few minutes later, or a few hours later, that it was in fact not. So I wanted to address why I didn't, because a lot of you were in my DMs and in my emails wanting to know why we didn't just shut the platform down and let people not trade. Well, because to get the scale and the latency response and the behavior of the product that we wanted, you need live data with that. Sandboxing that just it would never work. We would never get to where we are. It would take months and months and months to get to where we are today. So was it fair to put you all through that the last week and a half? No, but everybody got cheap accounts. People are getting payouts. Everyone is really taking part. I want to thank those of you in pit. The pit could have done this without you. But the point being is that it was very much a shared responsibility for us to get here, and we thank you, very much. And we've certainly been doing everything we can to reset accounts and restore P&L. That's probably a four-letter word, which I won't say again until we get to the end of the last part. But essentially, where we are now is a lot of things work and a few things don't. The the main pieces that are correct for the back end are the market data side for tick delivery and MVP1, MVP10 data at scale. I'll differentiate that for you in a second, and how that's very different than any other prop firm out there. Essentially, what we have is we have a direct connection to the CME. You've heard some of you have heard me say that, but it is in fact where we are getting our data from. We're not getting it from Rhythmic. We're not getting it from CQ. In fact, we're not getting it from NinjaTrader. We are a market participant with live data and connectivity direct to the CME data center in Aurora, Illinois, and Mahwah, New Jersey, just like Rhythmic is. Um, the amount of data we're getting per second is north of 10 gig. Um, Yesterday, I think it hit 40 gig a second, which by comparison, that's probably more data at the open than Tradevate sends to its all of its traders in a day. It's an absolute tremendous amount of data that we're taking, ingesting, and then are powering all of the tooling that we're giving you. Now, I say that proudly. You may think otherwise because PitTrader has been not well performed the past few days. But what this does is it gives us the ability to power things like bookmap like charts, full order flow and volume profile like paid platforms like bookmap and Jigsaw and TT and Quant Tower kind of give you for $80 a month, $100 a month, $200 a month, whatever those platforms cost. We're building that into Pit Trader that we're going to give you for free. We're also piping all that data live, including full trade data of every asset the CME has into Pitballs. Some of you have used it. It looks kind of like gimmicky, but our people have been testing it, and we're able to execute full trades at precise execution with analysis and expectation of stop loss, to the tick. It's tremendously powerful, and we're going to be talking more about that, value add of Pit Boss in the next couple of weeks. But we're not gonna get into that today because I wanted to talk to you about how we're powering all this stuff, and why this platform is and can be as special and visionary as it is. I'm not just saying that because I created it. I'm saying that because it's very different, and it's very different because of what the back end does. So where we are today is we are geographically co-located. Over the weekend, we deployed front end servers to three regions in the world. North America, it's in Mahwah, New Jersey, and Ashburn, Virginia. In Europe, we're in Ireland, Slough, UK, and Frankfurt. So we have three locations in Europe. And throughout Asia Pac, we're in Mumbai, Tokyo, and Seoul. So when you click on your PitTrader connection, it detects where you are in the world and connects you to um, any one of those any one of those eight data centers. And that is where the front end of PitTrader, Pit Dashboard, and a lot of the core services live that you're connecting to. And once we did that, or at least in sync those up, which we did late last night, that was the secret sauce to getting PitTrader to perform the way it had. So just to let you know, I'm seeing, just in case anybody's talking or in chat, I can't see the chat. I'll get back to it in between slides, and you can ask a question. The other issue that was sort of back end that we were running into was um, account provisioning correctly, and some issues with our crypto on chain crypto monitoring system. So when you paid with, which I'll get into on my next slide, um, when you paid with crypto or you were requesting a crypto payout, that system is not working right because we have a number of not miners, a couple of node and chain connections. That's how, and we're connected to Tronscan, CodeGecko, Kraken, and the way that we interface with those APIs were not working right. So that's why crypto was working funny overall. And some of you heard me say it in in chat. We'll get to more of that in the next slide. But the idea being is we had a lot of changes and we did a lot of overhaul and had a lot of late nights to bring the platform, to the 95% or 90% where it needs to be today. And I just want to reiterate that it could not have been done without the team in the pit. So thank you very much. So I'm sure all of you have been, like, you all can read. I'm not going to dive into every one of these items. By chance, between reading this and hearing me talk, you get the gist of what it took. So I'm gonna bring this screen off, and I'm gonna go back to chat so you guys can ask some questions. Hmm, okay. Are you cool with me activating 100K I passed while you're doing maintenance, 5, 10K evals I passed? Yeah, I mean, if you were working with evals, I'm sorry, can you hear me? Are you guys able to hear me? Yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean, if you were trading evals at your own risk, feel free. So if you wanna activate evals that you passed from last night, we're okay with that. That there's no bottom line, issue for anyone, there. So please feel free. So before we get into other stuff, let's just talk about what everybody wants to hear, and that is, quite frankly, the decision we made about canceling the 2 days and sorry, let me press my tickets. Understand that not all tickets are answered resolved, so how soon can it possibly be? Okay, so I don't want to sound like the boy who cried wolf. I've been saying tickets, tickets, tickets the last few days. The fact of the matter is, tickets are the next priority on the list, and we cannot do the right thing about P&L and balance adjustments and one-offs unless we get through with them all. So if you've noticed the past week and a half, the team has been doing what they can to help you and to get you the answers that you want. No, no, right now, Swordfish, it's uh, just send send it with your payout request. We can take payments, but the provisioning is slow in crypto and paying out. It's just if you for to get paid faster, just include your Wise account or your bank account, and we can wire in much faster than we can. But crypto payments work. Payouts just use a bank account. Where was I? Oh yeah. So to get through the tickets, so to get to where we want to be with balance and dashboard correction, we got to go through all the tickets first. So on my next slide, I'll just pop that up so you can see what our goal with that. We'll just talk through this next slide, and then we can get down to it with what you all are complaining and bent out of shape about, which is, I would do the same thing if I were you, but there is two sides to the story, and we can have a good discussion about it. Not You you guys can see my screen, I believe. So I can also see the chats now. So if you guys want to ask questions while I'm going through this, please feel free. But in summary, Will, it was the only decision after we looked at data that could be made. Okay, so let's go left to right really fast. The remaining issues that we have with the platform are stop loss and take profit. And I'm talking about brackets, are a little fuzzy. Sometimes they hit immediately. Sometimes they have to tick through a little bit. Sometimes they flicker. Um, but just be careful and keep an eye on them because they may not work exactly the way you want, but they do work after a couple of tick throughs. The safest way to close positions is the X, and if you have a market buy, just do a market sell. Closes, it's almost instant execution. Bracket orders and stop loss, they go together. The trade performance tab doesn't match right. That is directly connected to the same backend that your dashboards are. So some of the trade data that comes out of some of the trade data that you see in your dashboard and in executions and in trade performance and in journal place, it has to be updated. What we're trying to do first is get a handle on what information is actually incorrect, and we're doing that from the tickets. So all of that will be resolved in parallel with us resolving the ticket flow. So what everybody is calling frozen charts, it's not it's not a lack of it's not the back end breaking, it's not the pitch trader breaking. 99% of the time, what it seems to be a browser timeout. What happens is the browser loses connection. And especially when you go do something else, when you click the browser off and go to something else in Chrome, Edge, and pretty much all of them, after about 5 minutes, it puts the connection to sleep. So we sort of wrote our own interface to go with the browser that corrects it. And it works night and day better than it did even yesterday, but it's still not perfect. So if when you flip back to Pick Trader and you see it, maybe the candles look off, just hit refresh and it comes right back. Tickets, getting back to them, we're working them in the order that they came in. We're working on account liquidations and P&L change requests first, then all remaining tickets. So KYC, login issues, those sort of ancillary things. But the critical pieces are the liquidations and the change requests. I talked about the crypto payouts. Um, so account provision is another thing we detected, and this kind of goes along with the same reason why we're we made the decision we did about the trading. Is you heard me say, you might have seen me saying yesterday, we scaled pretty big. We scaled pretty fast, a lot faster than I thought. We have close to 900 traders already. There's, many of you I know, many of you we know from FTT. There are a lot of new faces, but there's still a lot of unknowns again, a top firm that grew in 9 days to close to 900 traders. So there's a lot going on here, and the tooling is beta. There's a lot of this. We're in pre-launch right now. This is just it sound like a broken record. For good reasons. I didn't mean like a broken record. Like I keep hitting myself because I want to. It's just there's a lot of you now, and getting the data flow out to all of you, at the same time is something that we're refining as we go through. So things like why we made the rules we did may say some of you directly, but it doesn't cascade down to the all people at all times. So I'll take it from the top. Most of you are doing the right thing. That's what happens. Us as prop as people who are operating and building the prop firm, we've got to build for the 99% and protect from the 1%. So what we're seeing now is that people are, because of issues in the system, people are getting accounts maybe that they paid for one, they're getting two, and they're not reporting it back and then trading them, and they've actually come to pay out on the accounts that they got for free. People are using credit cards that they should not be using to pay for accounts. People are using checking accounts that they should not be using to pay for accounts. And what this is causing in a very quick way is back end operations holdups. And obviously now further scrutiny on what's actually going on in the system. So that brings me to the number one reason why, and one of the number one reasons why we have to do what's fair for everyone. It is impossible for us, as well as most other prop firms, to detect why or how the system is being used. So there are a lot of people. It's impossible to know who is gaming and earning profits that they should have been earning when we were saying don't trade. When we were saying trade, no, trading is unsafe. Impossible to differentiate who made profits correctly and who didn't. Now, we also have infinitely more people who blew their accounts and need them back. So there's a middle ground somewhere. And that middle ground is the 2 days just don't count. That is not the way that's not the best way to do it. Probably not. But as the way that we chose, as the way that we feel is most fair to everybody. Do some of you have to go do more work for another 2 days to get to a payout? Of course you do. But then there are many more who got their accounts blown and lost funds that they made too, that are now back at initial or a little over initial. And it's just kind of the way it is. So not all of you are going to like it. We're not expecting all of you to like it, but we can't give everything away to everyone, because then we cease to be a prop firm before we are technically even one. So it is the best decision that we came to, and that's really just it. So don't go by what the dashboard says right now. I was speaking to somebody earlier, and there's definitely a skew between what they're seeing on their amended accounts and what I'm seeing on the back end by like $1,500 per account. So we have to go in and figure out where the skew is, where the maybe maybe it's possible that the session boundaries are off again, and what we thought we were the profit that we thought we moved ended up looking more, and it ended up, for instance, I was under the impression that I moved the profits that I removed on this individual left them with 1,500 or 2,000 in each of their accounts, and they showed me, and it was $99,995. So there was a little bit of a skew in what we were moving. We're going to go back and check each one of them. So don't trust what the dashboard says right now, even after we remove the P&L and remove the days, because there is a there is a lot to do to make this right. But the ruling is, let's start with the ruling. The ruling is 2 days don't count, and we moved all the trades for those 2 days. If it didn't reflect the way that our analysis system says that it does, we're gonna review it and fix it. So you guys are all really perturbed about this. I'm sorry. It's not personal to anybody. This is what's best for the firm. This is what's best. I know what's best for the fairness of everybody. I'm gonna scroll through and go and ask questions. So what happened between yesterday's announcement? The data spoke for itself. There was a lot to analyze, and there was a lot to go back to, especially after we got the system back. We took a closer look at people's accounts. We took a closer look at what we thought was people not following directions, and we came to a different conclusion. And you know, we did allude to the fact a couple of days ago that this may happen. I'm not CYAing. I'm not saying I told you so or anything like that. All I'm saying is it is a it was a tough decision to make, and that's how we made it. Out of the good for the firm and the good of fairness. Is P&L what was updated during the erased time? P&L, I just talked about that. That might be skewed, so we're going to go back through it. There is an issue where 2 trading days have been removed when you only traded one of the removed days. When it comes to the days traded, humble Mike, that is absolutely possible. And again, that could be because the the time zone is off, and maybe there's a 1 or 2 hour skew around that 6 p.m. close barrier, and it's just looking like the trades carried over to the next day. I don't know. I'm just guessing. That's what seems most plausible. I'm going to spend the rest of the day looking at that to get that squared away. GB handoff for a few of us. The reset has removed more than just the first April P&L. In my case, P&L across all trading days has been wiped, but that's not good. I'm really sorry about that. If you have a ticket open, that'll be in the pipeline, and I'll get to that today. Yeah, I just took 2 trading days. The 331 and 401 are the only days that were removed, and the time frames that were removed were from 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday to 4 a.m. this morning, which is when I can confirm the problems stopped, because I was pretty much up that entire window looking at the system, and it was haywire Monday night. It was haywire. Oh, by the way, we also restored accounts that were blown on Monday, by the way. So I don't know if nobody's commenting on that. All the accounts that were liquidated on Monday have been restored. Um, so it was haywire Monday through 4 a.m. this morning. So the fairest way, and it looked like the most amount of haywire trades, both good and bad. And the good ones, I'm sorry, we could not. It's just impossible to synthesize through. Occurred between 9:30 a.m. on Tuesday and 4 a.m. this morning. So we removed all of them, and we will, like I keep saying, we will go back to check to see if those trades were removed on that 2 hour boundary between sessions, which is why it may look like more days were removed. We're going to do that today. And today's RTF session be removed, not unless you have a really good case for it. I've been posting announcements to announcements. I will continue to. So if you did not trade during those times, Wild Bill, you're a fringe case. Open a ticket, and I'll look at it. Please, please, please. For some accounts, the entire data before 331 was also removed. Okay, we have to look at that also. That shouldn't be the case. Like I said, we only removed 331 to 41. So if something else happened, we're gonna fix it. Plain and simple. We're not trying to fuck anybody. So if you have issues, please let us know that are outside 331 and 41. Yeah, it's 6 days to pay out. So if you lost 2 days, you got to trade two more. We'll handle the planning. Thanks, G Bandahar. We're on it. All of the cases of money lost, we're gonna handle for you. No, tomorrow will be counted toward. I mean, tomorrow will back up into Monday. So Good Friday and Monday count as one trading day, and we'll put something out on announcements for that. Can I clarify the rule of 10K cap? What does that mean? I'm sorry. Hey Chris, were you did you get an email from the trade desk? There's four of you that should have. Okay, we'll get on that. There's four of you that should get a. You haven't either, on me. All right. There's four of you that should get one. Yeah, there's a few of you that are in compliance lock, based on what I was alluding to before about detecting people who are doing no good. I'm not saying that that was any of you. As I understand it, you will get emails today, which I have nothing to do with, by the way. If we have open tickets already, should we send another message in there saying we believe our data is skewed? Please don't. Let us go ticket by ticket, and that's not going to take as long as you think. And believe me, we'll come back to you if we need to see like a screenshot between trade performance and dashboard. That'll probably be the first response you get. Is there a long ticket queue? There's like 80 tickets. It's not huge. Realistically, it take us a few hours to go through all of them. No, not while you're live. Once you're live, so that's a good point. So let's go into this. So essentially, what's going to happen when you go live? You're gonna you if you, for instance, on 10Ks, you hit payout, you're getting locked for live because it's already rolling out. So you got locked for live because you hit 2,500 or $3,000 in payouts. So with a 10K account, your live account ends up being 1,500 to $2,000. One of you hit live with a 50K account and you received about 10K. Your live account will be 4 or 5K. So what will happen is the accounts you have will get locked. They're not going to go away. So so what'll happen, Chris, is all of those accounts will get saved for you. You'll go to live, hopefully make an absolute killing. We do have a rollover. So after maybe 2 3 weeks in live, if you're killing it, we will move the remaining balance that you have in some of the remaining profits you have in your existing accounts into your live account for you. And whatever is left, we're going to leave in those sims so that if you blow out of live, you can come back into the program without having to be on ice for a while like other prop firms do. It's a really great program, and it's built around live traders, which is what we're trying to build here. So we're not going to penalize you for having a bad day or blowing up. We'll penalize you for not following risk directions. Yeah, the live invite comes by email. quite frankly, the issues the past few days, these sort of things have we've been all hands on deck. These sort of things been overlooked, so I apologize, but I'll make sure you and the other two will get your live invites, by Monday. GPX Benjamin, I don't understand what you're saying. Thank you, GB Handar. I appreciate that. What's the percent split on live for trader? Starts at 80/20 and then moves up to 90/10 and daily payouts. Well, no, it doesn't. It's not. It doesn't go by balances. It goes by payouts. So if you have five 10Ks and you hit live, you have 2,500 in payouts. Your live balance comes to like two. It starts with 2 grand. Sure. Can you explain the starting payouts in live? 10K is between 1,500 and 2,000. 25K is between 3,000 and 4,000. 50K accounts range between 5 and 7, and 100 and I'm sorry, 7 and 12. 100K accounts range from 10 to 15. Higher if we look at your risk profile or the system says you can get a higher balance, but those are the general beginning ranges. If I'm going to take a 2,500 payout from 5 10 days, no, I mean once you have your payout, save the money, don't get 100K because you're with if you hit payout and you end up at 2,500 from your 10Ks, you're going alive. Yeah, no, we're not. It's not 10K, not 10K per account. It's 10K total in the live account. But the benefit, remember too, don't forget is if you hit live, we're gonna freeze those accounts for you. We're not gonna they just don't go away. We're gonna we're gonna freeze them in the event that somebody falls out of live. It doesn't again having 500Ks doesn't aggregate your balance. If you hit 500Ks, your first payout can be max of 15K. That's around what your live balance will be. Good question. Is it live same? No, it's live with it can be Optimus, Dorman, or Amp. Amp's coming. We have Optimus and Dorman now, and soon. And I say this with great pride and hope. You will be able to once we get there and the system is stable, you'll be able to use Pitch Trader direct, with the CME through Pico. What is it? 15K. That's the total that'll get you to live. So MT5 is definitely not. It's very difficult to get a live Mediclus license. I know the people personally in Cyprus, and they don't want anything to do with firms like new firms. So we have a MT5 solution coming. If you want to use it for SIM, um, but you can't. To use our system. MT5 is just not really going to work, especially not with live. But Optimus does have and AMP definitely do have an MT5 option. So if you go live with them, you can use MT5 with them, no problem. Going to live it doesn't matter your balance at all. So you can run it up to 200K. You can get 15K. It doesn't really affect what you're going live with. No, it doesn't affect. And that it doesn't. So that's a great question, Shade. Let's talk about that. It doesn't go retroactively. So when we announce it, and it'll be soon, let's talk through it for a minute. Let me just take this from the top. So guys, just pause your questions for a minute because it's going to take a minute to front end. got a lot of new faces here. So many of you have not heard my soapbox or my iterative background of what happened in FTT. I'm not going to go through that from the top. But what I'm going to say is, I'm going to start with, despite some similar faces you see, especially mine, this is a very different firm. We are firewalled completely from anything to do with FTT. We are completely separate entities, different money, different background, different players, different rules, different model, different everything. But my name is Scott Trieste, and we all know what happened at FTT. Think, we're not gonna get into arguments about what happened. It was terrible, and full I accept full responsibility for what happened, but maybe not for the reasons you think. I'll say it like this, in case I don't see all the users and members in here. I'll say it like this: whatever you're reading on social media that happened, and whatever you think you know about what happened at FTT, it's wrong. And up until being involved in the prop pit, fast track trading, those of you who know me, it was my life's work. It was one of my great successes, and then soon became one of my great failures. But there was nothing nefarious or any sort of malware intent going on whatsoever, based on what you read. And the reason I say so is the reason that I want to dovetail into what I'm going to say next. Because my name is Scott Trieste and I'm affiliated with a prop pit and I was affiliated with Fast Track, the right thing to do is to give people who were harmed by FTT by no fault of their own and some bad decisions of mine. The right thing to do is to give them an opportunity to recoup themselves, because for as many people as who had sick family members in Zimbabwe and grandparents with amputated legs in Jakarta, and we heard shit like that. There were a lot of people who were banking on some making some life changing decisions because of the payouts that they were going to get from FTT, and not getting that fucking sucks. And having to reconfigure your life because of some mistakes and because of the situation in FTT was just wrong. So those who have the ability and means to help people should. And I believe that. And that was one of my guiding principles at Fast Track. And is one of our guiding principles at the prop pit is to help people wherever possible. So that said, things are going the way that we want them to. Things are proceeding despite some bumps. We are growing with such amplified energy and excitement, even with the problems, that I have full faith that the prop pit is going to be a huge success. So what we're going to do is we're going to offer a way to invite people, both to invite people to come be on the platform, but also to make it right with them and to ease their pain and give them some closure about what happened in at Fast Track, and that is by way of payout bonuses. So if you were a Fast Track trader who your losses exceeded 10,000, or they didn't, if your losses were under 10,000, we'll give you an opportunity to make one for one loss back. If you lost more than 10,000, sorry, but you still can make back up to 10K of what you lost at Fast Track by way of payout bonuses, both in sim and in live. So if you hit payout, or your payouts increment, say for instance you hit payout for 2,500 on your sim payout, we'll match your sim payout one for one, and we'll forfeit our commissions in live until you recoup everything you made from Fast Track, 10K. That is just the basis of what that's just the basis of the bonus. And of course, maybe we'll do some account discounts, This is just all again, this is just at a very high level of what we're gonna do, but there will be something done for fast track traders, and we'll be announcing that probably middle April officially. And there'll be more of those Le Copain. We'll send out some more notices about what we're gonna do there. Very funny. Why? Is there a target date for full range law? Great question. So I'm very prideful that we got as far as we did with the fixes, but to hang on our laurels about it would be kind of foolish, right? So I had a I'm sorry, my daughter texted me. I just lost my train of thought. I had a time frame in mind of being fully ready for launch by this week. Obviously, I have my head up in my ass. That's going to happen. So if all goes well over the next few days, and we iron out these visual bugs and some of these take profit and stop loss and the rest of these strange account fills, I believe that will be launch ready by the end of next week. So that said, let's say an extra week. So I would love to be ready by next week, but I think mid-April we're we're ready to go. In terms of the discounts, um, suffice it to say, the break everyone's getting on accounts and the discounts and promos everybody's getting on accounts was in congruence with the issues and the major problems that we're having with the platform. The big problem is gone. There's still some problems. The big problem is gone. So that 30% off is going to be gone probably by tonight. By midnight tonight, the 30% will be gone. And that'll go down to 17 and a half or 20. But so take advantage of that if you're interested. But the 30% off giveaway is over sometime overnight tonight. How did TPP come together? Let me just start from the top. I was waiting for an approved 34K. Yeah, you were, Fake Out. You were one of the first 30 or 40 to get a payout at Fast Track. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you by first name. Um, you're an OG. So you you were had 34 outstanding. I don't know how taxes or write-offs work in your country, but you have an opportunity to get back, 30% of that at at FTT. Sorry, at the prop. How do you determine what was owed? Well, I have all the Fast Track records still about who was paid what. But essentially, at KYC or at account activation, pretty soon you'll see a pop up. You'll see a button for was it a Fast Track trader, and basically what you'll have to do is send something, most likely your Rhythmic login at FTT and um, one of your payout emails or something just to verify who you were, and I can cross reference it with exactly what you wrote. I still have a lot of that data. What would be the definition of losses from FTT? Basically, if you if you had payout, um, but if you spent, there are some people, and I'm not going to name any names. There are some people who spent 40,000 at Fast Track and didn't get a payout. That's if you spend that much money, please, show us that here, and we'll make it. We'll do our best to get you in the bonus program. But for the most part, we're looking at lost payouts. But again, if you feel you've had an excessive amount of account purchased and you were due for a payout, you never got it, please come to the table and come give us the opportunity to make it right with you. How did TVP come together, and how long have you been working on it? Good question. So the team that you see, we have been um, we have been mulling and mining the idea of a prop firm for some time. So this is a good opportunity to give you some history of the how we got here. So I got the all clear to start a new firm sometime last summer, and around August or September, we came together and decided that we were going to build a multi-asset firm of some kind. We went through, opened every door we could, talked to DXP, talked to Rhythmic, talked to Tradevate, and we talked to Sterling about equity trading, and we landed on a few options, Sterling and DXP for the very and Kraken for the various types of products we wanted to trade. So we started building the back end, started building the account rules and the various components that you would think need to be part of starting a prop. We got to about December, and we ran into a few problems. DX Feed found out who I was, and the executives there found out who I was, and decided that Scott Trios is an asshole, and we don't want to work with him anymore. So we terminated our contract and dropped us from the pilot and the dev platform. So they were going to be providing us stock, crypto, and futures data. This was December 13th, December 18th, something like that. So we kind of took the holidays off, and the the three or four individuals who are the steering committee of the firm kind of consulted me on what the best option was, and I said, just build our own. There's no reason to fuck around and to beg and plead with firms that don't want to do business with me or us. So let's just build our own. It can be done, and it's pretty simple, relatively. So the prop pit incorporated about a month and a half earlier, and I started development January 5th, my mom's birthday. So on January 4th, Pit Trader didn't exist, and on April 2nd, Pit Trader is in its current state. So it took us about, what is that, 116 days to 114 days to get here, and that's where we are. Is there a place in the site that clearly spells out the rules? Jonesy, I gotta apologize. This has been one of those things that just keeps falling off the radar. We have an updated version of the KB. Updated version of the KB will get up there tonight, so you can see everything that all the rules summarized much clearer. They'll be up there by tonight for you, and it's www.thepropit.com/KB. No, Damon, that won't be retroactive. It'll be going for it. Yeah, Parrot. I'll talk to you in GM, but that'll cover it. Nigel, I remember you, man. Yeah, it's her. You have one of the otters. You were definitely on the fringe case. What else we got? No, because the partners are named and or were named outright in some of the FTT stuff. And when you as you know, when you're creating business contracts and due diligence for people who are on operations agreements and equity transfer agreements, it's not that easy to circumvent. Well, Tedster, I'm glad you matched it here, essentially. All right. Any more questions? If not, we can end. But I appreciate everybody's input, and I want to close with saying the decisions made were not against anyone. Decisions sometimes suck, but please don't get discouraged. We are here to stay, and the rules are made. Sorry, the ruling was made for the benefit of everybody, not particularly individual traders, despite how we might not like it as individual traders. So I rebuilt the back end of KYC, Mike. That's great. Great question. KYC was really flaky and quite frankly broke every single fucking day. I rebuilt the back end. I'm going to push it with changes at 4 p.m. So after 4 p.m., KYC should be pretty rock solid today. How can we pay for accounts? Crypto, Plaid, and credit card. So if you go on your after you receive your activation email GPX, if you look in your dashboard, you'll see a pop up at the top. Click that, and you can click that from your phone, tablet, or desktop, and it'll pop up with a payment activation screen, and however you want to pay, and then minutes later you'll have generally minutes later you have your account. There's no more profit data to be wiped out. We're done with that. That's a hard enough decision to be made. We're past that, and we can all move on and try to make this continue to make this right. Anything else? Thank you, everyone. I'll talk to you all in main lobby, and we'll continue to go forward. Yeah, I'll fix that GPX. I'm sorry. Take it easy, everybody. Thank you.